friends. My name is Joshua Latimer. I'm joined by my beautiful high school sweetheart. Welcome to the Josh and Ashlee show. We're going to talk about an $8 billion super yacht, and what the heck does that have to do with your business? Probably more than you think. We're also going to talk about how a family almost killed itself because of a game of Monopoly. How outrageous is this, Ashlee? My high school sweetheart is also one of the most competitive family game players I've ever met in my life. Do you have any comments on that?
Wow, we'll just start off the show with throwing our wife under the bus. Way to go,
No,
Captain.
I'm not insulting you. I'm describing you.
Well, I do love myself some family games. I am here for the show, and you're right. It's okay. I am a very competitive person in lots of things, especially board games and Scrabble and all of those things. So,
Do you think, are you drinking, what are you drinking right now?
I got this new thing. I couldn't find my
Yeah, show us it. It's pretty cool.
I couldn't find my coffee mug this morning. So I went for my Viking helmet that I just got, but it doesn't go over my headphones very well. So I have to put it to the side. So just so you know, oh, and I'm dripping. Oh, wow.
Do you think that
Making a mess.
being competitive is a good thing or a bad thing?
Ooh, both. It can be a good thing and a bad thing. I think if you have no competitive value, you're probably going to be a slug.
A slug?
Yeah,
Like in
I
business?
mean,
But
you have to
what
have a
about-
little bit of an edge, a oomph. Like I know, like from the Shark Tank, if you've ever watched the Shark Tank, which is so fascinating. Barbara Corcoran always says that she likes somebody with a little chip on their shoulder. Like that's who she invests in, is people with a really with a backstory, someone who's been like, you know, like the underdog. She likes those kind of people. But some people with a chip on their shoulder who want to like fight the system because she knows that they have, because let's be honest, as an entrepreneur family, you have to be willing to do hard things. And so you need to have a little bit of a competitive edge or you'll just get squashed out like a little bug.
I mean, I think I agree. Yeah, I you know, like the common story of the dad playing basketball in the front yard with his 7-year-old. You gotta make a choice. Do you let the kid win to boost his self-confidence, even though it's fictitious because he's worse at basketball than you? Or are you the dad that never lets him win ever because you're actually preparing him to live an epic life? Are you having a crisis over there? Did you choke on your Viking soda thing? What happened? What happened?
This is live TV, everybody. My Viking helmet went a little rogue and I didn't pinch off the thing. And so now we have a Zevia crisis. It just looks like I peed my pants, everybody. We're good. Just keep rolling. The show must go on, everybody.
Yeah, the show go on, but should I let my kids beat me in games to make them feel good about themselves? Or should I dominate them until they're 26 and they finally do it for real? And then it really means something. What would be the better parenting method? Maverick, or how are you doing back there? Why don't you chime in? How do you view me? And we have not talked about this before this, so am I the let you win guy or the dominate you guy? And what are your thoughts? What do you think's best?
Oh, you can go all over the place. I'm not going to lie. You can be like, I see how you play with our little sisters. You'll let them win sometimes, then you come with us, and then you go a lot harder. But I like it personally because it teaches us to get better and then play harder.
So we just played Monopoly, the boys and I, my 3 boys and I, like, what, a week ago or something like that?
Yeah.
What happened during that game?
It was a nightmare for everybody except you.
I was pretty proud of myself. You see, the kids don't understand how to build like alliances as they play Monopoly, and they basically fought with each other until there's no one left but me. So I thought that was pretty great. Life lesson for them. But there's this family in Oklahoma, while Ashlee's over here dealing with her crisis. There's a family in Oklahoma who was playing Monopoly, and I think getting heavily intoxicated was part of the news story too. And they actually, shots were fired. Like actual gunshots were fired because of a game of Monopoly. And then when I saw the story, I was thinking back of different times when I'd play Scrabble with my wife. Now, she never.
Here it comes, everybody.
she didn't-
Here it freaking comes. Bring it on, sir.
You didn't have a firearm at the time. But I feel like if you did, I'm not sure what would have happened.
My face is a registered weapon.
That's true.
I actually think the reason why we had issues in Scrabble, if we're going to just throw out Scrabble, is that what you just said, is Scrabble?
Scrabble.
Yeah.
You love that game.
Yes, I do love the game. Someone was just butthurt. So, like, this really wasn't about me being competitive. I just was like a secret ninja in Scrabble. And he was like, how'd you come up with that word? And I would just come up with these crazy words. And he's like, that's not right. You can't do that.
Wait,
So
why is
I
that
think,
my voice?
I think you were the one who was competitive and you didn't like to lose. Scrabble from your wife.
You know, there's actually studies when you study high achievers that people that hate losing have an advantage over people who love winning, which is kind of weird, right? So I'm curious in the comments, do you hate losing more than you love winning? Because it's actually a marker that you'll have more success than other people. And I actually can see the comments now on my phone because Jared's a genius. But we got Jamie Strother said she's also a competitive game board player. Michelle Myers said that they're Sorry fanatics, the game Sorry. But lots of competition. Pat Clark said get Cash Flow. We love it, which we do play. Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow game that you can play it online. Our kids have played that for years.
Can we talk about Cash Flow for a second?
Yeah,
Since we're going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
There was this wife once, an entrepreneur wife who did not understand entrepreneur wifehood at a time and didn't understand that when Cash Flow first came out, the board game, it was like $100. I had no idea. Alls I saw was a game that was sitting there that only got played with once in a great while when his friends came over. So I sent it off to the Goodwill. I mean, the person, that entrepreneur wife who didn't understand entrepreneurship.
It was you.
Yep, I was the drama. I was that wife. But now I know. And now I look for it at the Goodwill every time I go because I'm like, and I think we bought one again. So I apologize for all the
Yeah, I had one of the
entrepreneurs out
original
there.
like actual games of that, and it cost like a lot of money to us because we had no money. But I was trying to learn entrepreneur stuff, so I was excited about my game, and you just got rid of it. And it's like worth money now because it's like this antique.
I'm going to pay triple to get
I guess
it back.
the moral of the story, though, is competition. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. That's what business is. You're competing, right? You're competing for attention. You're competing for employees. You're competing for everything, really, with your competition, obviously. But at the same time, I feel like it's mostly a competition with yourself for a couple reasons. Number one, small business is competitive with other people, but it's primarily a competition with yourself because the battle's fought between your ears. It has to do with your own beliefs, your own false beliefs, your own shame and guilt and weird things going on in your head from your childhood and the way that you feel about money, the way you feel about success. So mostly that. And I think the second reason it's mostly with yourself is because most of your competition is sleepwalking through life. Like they truly are. They react to stimulus, you know, they answer the ringing phone sometimes and they're doing stuff, but they're not actually proactive. I guess it depends on the market that you're in, but a big chunk of small business owners are just kind of going through the motions. So if you really just do a little bit more, it's not that hard to win, right? I mean, the level of service with almost every business is pretty bad. And I wasn't alive in 1950, but I'm imagining that like the quality of everything was better. The customer service was more prompt. It was better. The attitudes people had and employees had was better. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I'm naive, right? Maybe, you know, humans are humans. But don't you feel like it would be easier today to compete with the sleepwalkers that you're competing with than it would have been, I don't know, 50 years ago? What do you think?
That it's more competitive now or less competitive?
No, I think it's easier to win now than ever before in human history.
Oh my goodness.
Partially because the bar is low.
Well, the bar is low. Also, information is accessible at your fingertips. You can learn things now that, you know, like, was it Abraham Lincoln? I think Maverick would know. Abraham Lincoln was like super smart and super like in information, like he wanted to know things, but he had to like walk miles and miles to check out books, and he did it. And so there was not information at our fingertips like there was. Also with the internet, it's made us super easy to market to people. So I do think it's a lot easier to win, but I'm not saying it's just because the bar's lower. I think there's things that are accessible
But the
to us.
information's available to everybody.
Oh, yeah, but there's also Netflix available to everybody. I mean,
I think
the
we could almost
dopamine
make
is
the
like-
argument that the information accessibility is why people are failing more, right? Because we're bathing in useless information. Like, do you think human beings were designed to hear news headlines from all over the world with push notifications and like our phones ding with basically worthless stuff that has no value to our life, but it's constant stimulation? So to me, that's maybe part of what's lowered the bar with people. It lowers productivity.
well, you know, I would say too, I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm here for it. I'm just going to say, you know, we're the richest nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're a very rich nation, and even poor people are rich in this country. I know people aren't going to like that. Just hit the hurt button if you are. But I will say this is that we have what they call bread in circuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're fed good. So like, in the 1800s, if you didn't have time to be lazy, you had to go chop down wood so that you were, you had to like till the ground and stuff. Like you had to do stuff or you weren't hungry and you died. That doesn't happen now in this day and age. Like if you don't go to work on a Tuesday or you quit your job or you do this and that, you're still going to probably eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to eat.
Yeah, and you're not saying like poor people aren't poor. You're just saying relative to all of human history.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying
the definition of
yeah.
a poor person today is like lavish compared to, I think like
In the
500 years
United
ago,
States.
kings didn't even have toilets, right? We have like running water and all this stuff.
Wait,
I don't know.
people are not rich all over the world though. There's lots
Yeah,
of
you're talking about the U.S.
I'm talking about the U.S. I'm talking about that. So I want to make sure that's very clear. We have some luxuries that we didn't have back in the day.
And those luxuries actually hurt our ability to be the best version of ourselves in a way. And I have cognitive dissonance with this because I don't even have a general point. I just think, like, I know in my life, I was more productive, I was hungrier, I was more driven when I had less stuff, when I had less creature comforts. I don't know. I think it's helpful. It's useful. I think that's why there's a book behind me on the shelf over here called The Fourth Turning. And it talks about how I think it's 20-year cycles, generational cycles that happen. There's 4 different ones. And we've all heard the quote that, strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, and times create strong men, or it's a loop, right? And it's crazy. You should like buy this book, The Fourth Turning. It studies all the history of like cycles, like economic cycles, political unrest cycles, weather cycles, financial cycles, all these things, but also these generational turnings. We're in a fourth turning right now, by the way. We're in a fourth turning, which means like the decadent life that we all live has caused a situation where hard times have to come to reset the table because the generational differences. Your parents are here visiting, and they're sitting over here off the set, but
They're called the boomer generation.
they're
They're boomers.
Their parents,
My
like their whole world paradigm of what work meant and what family meant and what personal responsibility meant, completely different. Like the definition of that in their brain, completely different than what it is right now.
Completely different. Yeah.
Jarrett, you want to pipe in? JB Will, you guys are young guys. Do you feel like you're just decadent? You're not millennials. What are you, generation?
Z probably, right?
Z.
Zennials.
I'm a millennial. Zennials.
Everyone likes to make fun of you guys. So what do you think about everything I'm saying? Jarrett,
Yo,
audio team.
audio team. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I agree. I think I agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of people that I think have access to, like you were saying, everything's at the access of your fingertips these days. And so a lot of people are easy to, it's super easy to do whatever,
I have something to say about it. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I think, now I'm going to stick up for the Zennials, but I also think it's our fault. We have the media and YouTube, like I love YouTube, love it, obsessed with it, but there's we've kind of made people doing pranks.
I have no idea what they were talking about.
Jarrett, we can still hear you.
Your mic's actually really, really quiet too. So there was a comment that you're hard to hear.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, and but what I was gonna say is that look at all the pranks and the antics on YouTube that are making people famous for eating a Tide Pod or all these things, that these crazy antics that they do. And so now all the next generation, they want to be YouTube stars, but for more pranks. Like, how far can pranks lead us? I mean, pranks definitely get attention. It's definitely a marketing play. People who have the attention of eyeballs, that's marketing for sure. But eating Tide Pods can only last so long. Or what was the one that you were telling me today about licking the ice cream tops? Like people were licking ice cream tops, or
in a grocery store,
or people who do stuff like in the Chick-fil-A line or this or that. Like, how many pranks can we see? Now we need to have some things of value that we're getting. Like, why can't the one guy that gives money away? Like, I like that kind of stuff. I'm here for it.
Jimmy Darts.
Yeah,
I
I
love
like
that
that.
guy.
Like, I like it when people are giving back or they have real substance. I mean, I know that one kid, his name's Ryan. He's a bazillionaire now, but he opened up presents and played with toys. How hard is that? So now every kid wants to be a YouTube star that opens up presents and plays with them. Like, right? Like,
I mean, they do. I don't think that it's necessarily intrinsically bad. I also think that even if all of us were aware of the four turnings, I don't think it changes anything. Generations blame generations. It's like how it works. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, right? And my favorite book is either Proverbs or Ecclesiastes. I go back and forth. Ecclesiastes is an insanely depressing book where the wisest man to ever live in the history of the world says all this stuff. And at the very end, he's like, yeah, life's pain, basically, right? And he's talking about working under the sun because we think we're really smart, man. We're not freaking smart. Are you kidding me? People today are not smart. We just have information, but information is different than wisdom. Wisdom and information are not the same thing. Myron Golden, who actually just called my cell phone right before he started that's who called me.
oh,
But
Myron.
he says that
I love Myron.
knowledge is the accumulation of truth. And so there's lots of young people that have like knowledge on stuff. They can write code. They understand the algorithms of social media. They know how to create content, get attention. They know how to use rage bait and create clickbait and how to use thumbnails and they know like lots of stuff. That's not the same thing as wisdom, I guess. But I'm not beating up on anybody because I don't know how you'd be born 15 years ago from right now and not be immersed in this because this is what it is right now. I'm just worried about
say
it.
every generation creates the next generation. So I mean, well, I know that was like a dumb blonde joke, but a dumb blonde thing, but of course. But I feel like we needed the boomers, and the boomers are super important to our culture. And I actually think the millennials,
there's no country without these
the
people.
boomers,
They
I
built all
know.
this stuff.
I was having a conversation with my grandma actually over Thanksgiving, and we were talking about how different it is for what you have to work for. So like today in today's age with today's the kids and all that, like they are never going to understand how hard you had to work to get what you wanted when back in my grandma's day. She was born in 1941, the year Pearl Harbor happened, and she was telling me, she was like, from then and then all throughout her growing up, like I mean we were in war, and like you had to go, you were going through depression, all of that stuff, and like you had to work super hard for anything you wanted. If you wanted to learn something, you had to actually go in and like put in the work to learn something. And I think a lot of the kids these days, and even like moving forward, like the future generations, it's going to be a hard thing for them to really understand the grit that it takes to learn a task, learn a thing, because they just have access to it all now.
God, that's really good. It's true. It's true, man. You'd get like one book that your family owned and you'd read it 47 times and you'd like preserve it and cuddle it, right? There's so much information, which means we value information less, or we don't get good at discerning like useful, practical, deep wisdom information versus general information. And that segues really cool into the silver thing that's on your desk right now. So Ashlee got this gift. It's a family heirloom from her family.
I got it for Christmas. My parents are in town and we celebrated Christmas early, and I got this. This is our family heirloom. It's actually from 1768. Paul Revere times, everybody. Paul Revere. And it's really cool. It has every daughter that has been married off. I don't know how do you say the lineage of it. It's got the lineage of my family, and then my name got added to the bottom of when I got married. It goes to the daughter who gets married first, and it's a small porringer. Fun fact, the Smithsonian wanted this, actually. And so there's a letter to my grandma before she passed away saying that, they would like to hold this in the Smithsonian because it's a Paul Revere silver porringer that has legacy. I mean, this is older than the United States of America, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's crazy.
It can hold like spirits and stuff like that. Like people would pass it for wine, or you could put like breads and foods and stuff in it. But of course, it's just going to be a mantle on my. But it's interesting because we don't have too many things like this anymore. Things that have legacy or meaning. Like things are so disposable nowadays. Like my one grandma, her washer has lasted over like 40 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like they built
Yeah.
things that last, just like this. They built things that last, and we are somehow in a disposable. So I think we're actually going to go back to things that last. I think that's the new marketing play, is to have things of value, to have things of, I mean, that's going to be the new cool thing, I bet. I bet it will be things with value. There will be still people who do disposable things, but like people who want real products made organically.
Well,
and
technically,
different things.
technically speaking, even these silly internet videos have value. Do you mean to say we need to focus as business owners on top shelf quality with this
Yes.
thing we do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think.
But isn't the prank video person doing top shelf quality with the quality of the prank video? I mean, value is subjective. That's what makes it weird.
Well, where does it end?
I don't
How
know.
many Tide Pods are you going to have to eat? Or what else do? They do like crazy things like swimming in, they put spaghetti noodles in their swimming pool and like
it'll get crazier.
Orbeez. I mean, and then there's this line that you cross. Like I think Logan Paul, he was the one who he's crossed a few lines, like did crazy antics, and he crossed a line and his fans were like, oh, you were funny, but not anymore because went too far. So these people, like a lot of Instagram people and YouTube, I'm not even bashing them because I think a lot of them are doing it for the likes and the shares and they're fun and they're funny, but then people will turn on them. And it could probably be really lonely, I would imagine. Right? Lonely, and then you get there, and then some of them aren't even making money. That's the crazy part.
A lot of teenage depression stems from social media stuff, social media bullying. People like to pick on the young guys because they get depressed because they got a mean comment on Facebook or whatever, or they get doxxed and made fun of, and their whole school looks at them funny, and people do all these different things to them. And I don't know if that's worse than the 1912 bully who actually just threw you in a ditch and beat the crap out of you to be physically hurt you. I saw this meme where it has a doll and it says, show me on this doll where my words hurt you. And so I kind of ride with that crowd. I think we're a little bit hypersensitive with it. But at the same time, we've raised kids that aren't that tough, right? There's broken homes. There's just media addiction from parents, adults, and kids and everything. And so the table is set to not focus on family legacy, to not focus on things that last. I wonder how many young parents are doing something right now thinking 100 years in the future. With that porn drink. They didn't know that it would make it all the way to you, but that was the intent behind it when they did it, which is super awesome. And we talk about family legacy a lot. Some people argue that you can't have a legacy, right? Because there's no meaning to life and it's all going to go back to dirt and it doesn't matter. I think that's a bunch of bull crap, and that legacy is real, but you got to focus on it. And you got to do really hard things you don't want to do, and you don't get credit for it today. If you spend time with your kids and you teach them deep lessons and you hold them accountable and you try to level them up, you as an imperfect parent trying to do those things in secret that no one sees, that no one gives you credit for, doing those things have real intrinsic long-term generational value, but you don't get an ROI on it today. You don't get money in your bank by doing that stuff. In fact, those are the most important things, but they get pushed to the side so we can get more attention online. We can hit a number with our business. It's really kind of depressing in a way. I do want to recognize something though. There's a movement with young people right now to dopamine detox, to stop watching pornography, to go back to old school principles and stuff. And I think that's really encouraging. There's a lot of young people that are getting up early. They're taking care of their body. They're building real companies. And they're kind of rejecting the easy path because the easy path actually isn't that attractive when everybody's doing the easy, lazy path,
Yeah.
It's almost like rebellion back in the day was take morally good standards and you're the rebellious against that because that's the establishment. It was being having integrity and doing the right thing and community responsibility and all that. But now, because everything is just broken, the new rebellion is building something of value, worrying about other people other than yourself, creating real companies, staying married, getting and staying married and raising children, even though it's really hard to do that, because that's the real flex right now.
Yeah, you're saying that it's like my anti-bucket list. All these people have all these bucket lists to do all these things, and I have an anti-bucket list because I'm trying to be my own original vintage human, right? So staying married, what are some other things that make you unique and epic, babe?
Well, I mean,
is that what you're saying? Is
I'm talking about the real flex right now is being old school traditional, because that's the hardest thing to do in this environment. So that's the real flex. That's a way to show up the William Wallace Braveheart version of you and your own story, right? We're all on our own hero's journey. We all want different things. But at the end of the day, if you lay down, my theory is also that men were designed, built, and created to die for something. That is our purpose, okay? Not to die for something stupid. But to die for something greater than ourselves, whether it's our family or legacy or the company that we built or the customers that we served or the movement that we started, the wife that we married when we were young, we're
Ooh.
designed to die for things.
I have the female version of this. Are you ready?
Yep.
Honoring your husband.
That's pretty controversial these days, babe. You better watch out.
I know.
All the
I'm
blue-haired
ready.
feminists are going to attack you.
I know, but this is something we talk about in the Unicorn Squad. I remember one of my unicorns pulled me aside at our blessing bash, and she was like, Ashlee, you've really created a culture where we honor our husbands here, not bash our husbands. And some of us have some real things that we're going through, some real hard things, but we present the ideas as, I love and honor my husband, but how am I going to get through this issue? What are the tools and the skills I need to get through? And so I think honoring your husband in this day and age is super sexy.
It's rebellious.
Oh,
Inside the Kid Warplane, it says the Kid Warplane was made for rebellious wisdom seekers. And some people commented didn't like that. Well, I don't want my kid to be rebellious. It's like, no. You don't understand what the word rebellious means. Rebellion isn't necessarily bad. It's rebellious against what? If you have the good thing and you're rebellious against the good thing or the correct thing or the true thing with a capital T, if you're rebellious against that, then that is wrong. But if society has went down the toilet and you're rebellious against that, now your rebellion is like righteous rebellion.
Yeah, I am super rebellious then because I love you, babe, and I want to honor you. And I get my googly eyes when I'm looking at you. When he says something really smart, I just stare into his eyes. Sometimes I don't know what the heck he's talking about because he's talking like Elon Musk stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know what he's saying right now is so smart and so sexy.
Well, thank you. We just got so heavy into the seriousness, but you mentioned Elon Musk.
Oh, yes.
You found a way to talk about him every single time. On the Ashlee and Josh show, where we're just figuring out and having fun with our awesome team and Jibby, Will, and Maverick and Jarrett in the sound room. But there's still more Elon Musk news. And it's the fact that Apple and Google and all these big tech companies are threatening to pull Twitter off the App Store. Maybe you've seen this, right? I don't know what crazy thing Elon did other than, I don't know, try to allow free speech or something.
Dang you, Elon Musk.
The institutions are ready to just hit the eject button on him. But man, what a danger. Let me ask you this. Do you realize how successful and rich you have to be to buy a $44 billion side hustle? Okay. Think about this. Okay. The average person watching this is like, I'm thinking about doing a side hustle. I'm going to start a Shopify store. Elon Musk has all these companies and then they made him buy Twitter because he didn't even want it, but then he was contractually obligated and he overpaid for it. And he's like, all right, I'll grab it real quick. He bought a $44 billion thing, almost sort of. It's like a joke to him, and he's having fun. And I think he'll turn it into a $1 trillion company. Truly, I do. But anyway, he's a threat to this establishment or whatever. What do you think about that?
You know what Elon should do? This is just an idea. Elon, if you're out there, got a little idea for you.
He definitely needs our advice.
He does. Elon, if you just put a video camera, if he just had a video camera follow him and you had to pay to watch Elon Musk just operate Twitter, I'm here for it. It would shut down the world because we'd all be watching him because we'd be so fascinating. The story of how he went to a closet and found all these woke shirts and stuff and just his response. And I even want to know, he's just so weird and quirky.
He's smart.
He's smart,
the crazy, here's the crazy stuff he's done.
He's a fascinating human.
The crazy stuff he's done so far as I can tell, is he fired people that weren't doing anything.
Oh, that's a shocker.
He talked to his new partners and said, we're losing $4 million a day. We should probably strategize how to not do that. Whoa, revolutionary. Twitter hasn't made money out of 8 of the last 10 years. Okay. It just continuously loses money. It's so funny. You see the old CEO and these people and how much swag and bravado they'd show up with in these interviews. There's some sort of genius. Well, I think the state of the world today, and they're just saying a bunch of BS as they're losing money every single day, as if they've accomplished something. Okay. Losing money. So he fires people that are non-productive. He begins the process to think about how to monetize this.
He says you have to come to work.
And then he lets people back on the platform that didn't break any law at all. Most of them didn't even break a Twitter rule in the first place.
A titter rule?
I was hoping that no one noticed I said titter. I meant Twitter. He didn't do anything weird. He's just like, you got to work. Do your job. Let's be innovative. Let's create real value. And let's stop banning people that politically disagree with us. That's the craziness. And then the world is turning on him. Advertisers are stopping advertising with him. But he's a dangerous dude. to do that to.
Because yesterday or whenever this was, he said, Apple, if you take me down, I'm going to invent the phone, the Apple. He's going to reinvent the phone.
Well, there's rumors that there's a Tesla Pi phone, Pi. Like
seriously.
3.16.
And he's got Starlink, which I saw Starlink, y'all. When my daughter, she's 7, and we were at a campfire this summer, and all of a sudden she goes, "What is that in the sky?" And it looked like a little caterpillar going across the sky, just like lights. And so if he does create a phone, he would be able to give internet to people for free through Starlink. It's a dangerous game you're playing, Apple, if you're going to mess with Elon, because we know that he will do a side hustle for $44 billion.
Yeah, and like
And then crush
and
it.
he's like a. These other companies are companies. Elon's a personality. He's like a personal force. Now, I have my concerns, okay? There's some weird, creepy things and some conspiracies with his family. Who knows? But I don't like a lot of what he's doing, like the idea of Neuralink and embedding chips in your brain. Yeah, not happening there.
He's probably a bad guy. But can a bad guy be a good guy for a little bit? This is my question.
Oh, 100%. Or a bad guy can be a good guy in certain categories of stuff.
That's true, because like Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible and in the book of Daniel and stuff, it's like...
He also named his kids a password. That's just something silly and random.
Wait, what are you
Wait, his name
talking
is
about?
Password, or you're just saying it's not even like a real name? I think it's pronounced Kyle, right?
Doesn't it got like numbers in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like... Of course he would. That's marketing. Is that a marketing
like Jimmy
genius, or
Will
is
would
that just like
definitely know.
quirky human?
What's that, Jarrett?
I said Jimmy Will would definitely know the names of Elon Musk's kids.
Do you know him?
I think it's A something 12. It's like a math equation.
Okay.
It's really strange.
It's like, Dad, do you think Elon would let his kid win in basketball? Or would he dominate his kid?
I don't think Elon would play basketball.
That's true.
I
He
think
would
pay
write a
somebody
thesis.
to go play basketball with his kids.
Okay, now let's just talk about names. If your name is A12 or whatever, you have to become Elon Musk, or you're just the weird kid that's named A12.
Yeah, you
This
know,
is like a boy
he's gonna
named
get
Sue.
bullied for
Yeah.
for
For sure.
all like.
Unless-
maybe you won't because everyone knows his dad.
Yeah, your dad's Elon Musk, and he will do a $44 billion revenge scheme if you do.
Well,
Like,
the funny thing is everybody that has it out against him is still trying to figure out how the company is running successfully after all of these people left. And it's like that should tell you what the problem was. There was an article that just released, and it said that Elon Musk predicts that, and in quotes, Twitter 2.0 will have 1 billion users a month by 2024.
It will, dude. They already set record usage.
I'm a Twitter person now. I don't know how to do it. I'm only following Elon, but I'm here for it. You're
Yeah,
welcome,
he
Elon.
brought on a whole bunch of people. I don't have the full list, but look, I'm for free speech. Free speech is freaking awesome. It's funny, though. A lot of people don't exercise their free speech, right? Because we're being trained by social media to not have opinions, okay? And this is intentional, people, okay? You get hit with a yardstick on your wrist like a bad school teacher in the 1850s, right? If you say a comment that's not supposed to be said. And the algorithms automatically put little fake news disclaimers and Wikipedia articles before
and
certain
things that
headlines
aren't
you
even
have.
that aren't even talking about it. They'll just throw something up there just to make it. This, you know who this is coming after? It's coming after the boomers.
What do
Coming
you
after
mean
the
coming
boomers.
after the boomers? What does that mean?
Because the boomers believe people, and they believe the news media so strongly that if someone says it and they don't see the little thing at the end,
Right.
like the little footer that's like, yeah, this actually found out to be not true. They just believe it in their minds. And I think the algorithm, like, look at all the scams. They go after the elderly. They go after the boomers.
Yeah.
And this has to do with like new to social media.
Well,
They
it
don't-
has to be true. They said it on TV, Josh.
Yeah, and like the tech industry goes after boomers who don't know. Like, how many times do you get a thing saying, Facebook is not allowed to use any of my pictures or information because they think it's going around that Facebook is stealing their stuff,
The
right?
funniest
Facebook
thing
is
Like
stealing their
accounts.
stuff.
they just copy and paste a status, and all of a sudden that like opts them out of being scammed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Those
that's what I'm
things,
talking.
like,
That's
"You
what I'm
guys
talking
are
about.
Boomers. Like the amount of times my grandma was like, "Should I respond to this?" She gets an email or a phone call saying that her bank account has been hacked. I'm like, Grandma, it's the same answer every single time, literally every time.
Yeah. Wow. The world's insane.
Sorry, I
But
didn't mean
guess
to
it's
cut
probably
you off.
easy targeting.
Well, the boomers are a huge part of the population. There's 10,000 people a day turn 65. That's a several-year-old stat that I memorized a long time ago. But there's lots of them, and there's not enough new people being born because people don't want to get married and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think
But you were talking about free speech. I mean, that's what you were talking about before I interrupted you before the boomer thing. So
yeah, free speech is critical, or our country is totally screwed. And but we have to exercise it. So like, put what you believe, even if you don't agree with me. Tons of my friends don't agree with anything that I say, but we still love each other. It's fun to have intellectual conversations and debates. Everybody gets butthurt because they disagree. It's totally fine to disagree. I have tons of unpopular opinions. One of them being that you should never mix corn into your mashed potatoes. And if you do that, you are a person of chaos, and I'm going to pray for you.
Stop
because that
it.
is disgusting.
You
eat
need
the
to pray
crunchy-
for me.
The crunchy
Gosh.
corn is eaten over here. Then you eat the mashed potatoes that are soft over here. You
Stop
don't mix it together. It's like putting nuts in bread or raisins in cookies. Who are these people? Now, most people think that I'm crazy. I think you're crazy, but we're still best friends.
No.
It's okay.
The best way to do it is have a layer of mashed potatoes with the corn on top and then the gravy on top of that. Like the potatoes become the plate.
Nope.
And then you you know
Chaos.
what? Well, I love
You know
this
those
kind of
little
chaos.
plates where it divides the little sections? Those are my spirit
Annoying.
animal.
They're
Those are my spirit animal
annoying.
plates because now we can compartmentalize the food and keep it from touching like it's supposed to.
That's just
Right? Anyone?
You know
Does anyone
what's
agree?
interesting? You're talking about algorithms and you're talking about people who get riled up. Anytime you are getting riled up and you're on the media, okay, social media, and you're getting riled up for some crazy reason, you need to take 10 steps back because it's probably some kind of marketing thing.
Yes.
Because
it's called emotional fishing. That's actually my business tip for today, but I'll do that at the end.
But
Emotional
this is
fishing.
what happens, like, because you know how many people are so outraged by us every single day for kid war plan stuff? And literally, it's words on page, everybody. And you don't even have to see it. You don't have to click on it. But people click on it. Then they get themselves all worked up. And then it does like an actual physical thing inside of their bodies. It's crazy.
You know what a social credit score
It's
is?
marketing. Take a step back. Even the news is marketing. The news is the biggest marketers on the face of the planet. And you feed into it and you have fear porn. And so anytime you're getting emotionally worked up, just go take a walk, process what actually you really heard and hurt you.
Do you know what a social credit score is?
Yes. I don't know how it actually works, but I know the idea of it.
It's not good. We don't want
China
that.
does that, right?
Yes. And we sort of do it. I mean, the way social media manages free speech is a version of it. It's like social credit score light, meaning they can shape what you say by subtly scolding you for saying it wrong, right? This is how political correctness is a form of a social credit score. But like the full built out version that these maniacs want to have is that if you are in a Facebook group that believes a certain thing, or if you share or talk about or discuss ideas and use certain keywords, it will aggregate the information, lower your social credit score, which actually affects your real life, like your ability to get financing for stuff, your ability to get hired at a company, right? And it's a way to put pressure on a populace and push them in the direction you want. But mainly, it's a sophisticated, very, very genius, evil, diabolical genius way to shut people up. I wish people wouldn't shut up. And some people don't. And then they get deplatformed. But what I was going to say is the number one fear of adults in the United States is public speaking. That is the number one fear. In fact, the number two fear is death. Did you know that? People would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy at a funeral. That's insane, right? So we need to find our voice, even in our small way with a small company. You know, we have our kids debate each other and like give little presentations to the family because I'm teaching them how to speak to a small group because it's a superpower, not just having the courage to speak in the first place or having the conviction of values and principles that you actually believe in, but actually doing it and being bad at it so you can eventually be average at it so you can eventually be good at it. We need more people doing this. I think Elon is helping in that effort to give people permission to say what's on their mind. Even if I totally disagree with it, it's absolutely critical that continues to exist. What?
Nothing. You know, it's like I didn't have enough coffee this morning because I almost said something that I was maybe going to regret. So.
Let me go through some of the comments here. So Holly said she couldn't hear Jarrett. That was a while back. And then she said something's still wonky, but I think it's fixed now. Rebecca said the huge flex right now is being old school traditional. She liked that.
Oh.
I agree. Like the new rebellion is like taking responsibility for your family and like crushing life. Oh, it's crazy.
I think the culture went from being like, because in probably like the early 2000s, everybody wanted to be rebellious, but now they're being like, they're targeting what they want to be rebellious in. And so now they're going back. It's kind of like, you know how music and fashion, all of the things tend to always jump back to quote unquote old school, like the 80s. Everybody always says the 80s is coming back, the 80s is coming back. And it's like, what about it, and like why does that happen? And I think do you think, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's like a societal norm that you just always revert back to?
Yeah, it has to do with the fourth turning. It has to do with the fact that there's nothing new under the sun. Like everything everyone even teaches is just a reiteration of an ancient principle or truth. Think about that. I don't care if it's Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or Russell Brunson or something I say. We're saying the same things with different wrappers on them. We use
like
word
modernized.
butter. So like whether it's fashion or it's music or it's art, there's elements that are ancient in all of this stuff. Ancient, not old, ancient. Ancient is a mega powerful thing. Because humans are humans, you know, that people's desire to be heard is like a human thing. It's not a modern day culture thing. Depression or feeling overwhelmed or caring what other people think. I think today we just have the technology in place to manipulate people at scale in ways that were never possible before. And they can do it in subtle ways. It's not like they take their standing army and say, don't be a Christian or I'll chop your head off in the Coliseum. Like, you know, that was like the way they did it then. Now it's to put a little badge under your thing. This guy has been known to associate with Christians. Ugh. And then simultaneously run, you know, news articles about how these diabolical Christians are ruining everything and they're subversive to the Roman government. It's just a more subtle way to do it. Then you take young influencers to do Roman public antics and run around and be silly, but they just happen to also make comments making fun of Christians over and over and over and over. And so they shift the narrative. They push the masses. They push the populace. The way that they want.
Was it Instagram or TikTok where you do 7 swipes and the algorithm already figures you out? Like, and so it starts feeding you things. Like, I remember one time my husband bought this thing way back in the day. Babe, I'm outing you for a second.
Uh-oh.
And it was like this electronic thing that you put on your abs. I do have a point, I promise. You would put this thing and it would like electrocute you and then it would make 6-pack abs, okay? And it was so funny and we were like talking about it. And I haven't thought about this product since. I mean, we got it like when you were like year 1 married. You're like,
Yeah.
I am 195. I need abs. Remember? You
I was
just like,
185 back then.
okay, and
The glory days.
he's like, I need some abs. So we tried to electrocute our abs. It doesn't work. But anyways,
I think it could work.
a year ago, somehow I'm talking about it, right? And now I don't know. This is going to be conspiracy theory lane, but I started talking about it, and I started getting fed ads about electronic abs. I hadn't thought about this product for like 18 years, or 19 years, and then all of a sudden I'm getting served ads. And so then you're thinking everybody's electrocuting their abs because every other ad was electrocuting abs. And so I'm like, so like the social media, like the path that they put you down through ads and marketing and things and the way that the algorithm works, some people could really,
They're smart, man.
You could move people if you are an evil person.
They do move people because they're evil people. That's how it works. But they're also geniuses. Look, everybody, the principle in your electrocute your abs thing, the principle is that people have always wanted an easy button. Products like that sell. They hook you, right? How to lose weight without changing anything. How to be super jacked and eat birthday cake. They want to have everything they want without giving up anything that they like. And it doesn't like work like that, but marketers know this, right? And then like mass hypnosis and persuasion of people is not that hard, man. The industry that I come out of, when there's live events, like this rabbit hole is so dark. The marketing rabbit hole, marketing is everything and everything is marketing. They control, I'll give you one example, live events. So if you go to an event like Funnel Hacking Live, the level of, we'll say persuasion, but it's manipulation, to create an environment that is perfect for creating sales is very choreographed in ways you can never imagine. Like I'll just give you a simple sample, right? And it's kind of a red pill, so prepare yourself, okay? You go to these business events and you get all jacked up and you buy some stuff. That's totally great, totally fine. But did you know that everything about the entire event is choreographed? And it's not bad, it's not good. I'm just helping you understand how nuanced good marketing is and how it's everywhere, from the media to the news to social to everything. But okay, back to my example. The temperature of the room is critically important, right? It's cold on purpose because it keeps you more aware and stimulated. The snacks that they serve at a lot of these events are low on the glycemic index so that you don't get sleepy when you come back after the lunch session. Literally, the food choices available to you, even through the vendors they'll bring in, are oftentimes manipulated to make sure that you are a little bit hungry and you're cold and you're awake. That's just the beginning. People that are into neuro-linguistic programming will tell all the negative stories on one side of the stage. They'll tell all the positive stories on the other side of the stage. Not just them, but every speaker that comes on there, they'll have them do things like that. They use hand gestures certain ways to basically mass hypnotize you. They'll do a charity event on the first day of the event. And the reason is partially to give money to charity, but not really. It's to train people how to buy. So on the first day of the event, it's like, everybody stand up, go to the back of the room, you're going to fill out your charity thing. thing and you get all these bonuses. It's training them to stand up, go to the back of the room means you're a good person. So then when they sell you the products, it's like stand up, go to the back room, be a good person, right? The lights they use, the beats per minute and the music that they use, the smells that they use. Most high-end hotels have signature smells. That's on purpose. And even people like, I don't know, a lot of people would dress really fancy on the first day of the event, and they dress down on day 2, and they dress down more on day 3, and they dress down the most on day 4 because they position themselves as an absolute authority who becomes your friend, okay? This is just off the cuff, right? This stuff is deep. If I know this, okay, I'm a window cleaner, okay? I started a window cleaning business. Now I'm playing on podcast stuff with my wife. If I know this, do you not think that the powers of the world know 1,000 times more than that? That's my point.
You know, this is not the only place that they do it for events. And like we choreograph our events so that we also choreograph them because you can use it for good too. Like we choreograph it so that everybody gets the most value out of our events. Like a lot of events that we don't sell people, we still choreograph it so that it is very beneficial and it moves people. You want people to be laughing and then crying and then you want to express this out of them. But also another place where they do some evil, I thought that was my coffee pot. Maybe my porringer should have been my coffee pot. But one of the things that they do is that like in casinos, they have scientists who come in and do their marketing. They make it darker in the rooms, and then it makes you drawn to the light. They have carpet that design their carpet. They have scientists. My brain is not working yet. I'm so sorry, babe. They have scientists develop their carpet so that it's like directionally it takes you to the slot machines. They have drinks. You know what I mean? There's marketing everywhere you go. There is marketing happening. Some of it's bad marketing, but a lot of it's good marketing. I mean, look at even the Chick-fil-A line today, everybody. Marketing.
It's a good segue. And Jared, we're still streaming, right? Because Seamus said that we're froze solid. I don't know if something broke.
I think it was because I saw that, but it was a comment what you were talking about at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So perfect segue, Ash, because we're going to do some business tips. We're going to talk about emotional phishing, because no matter how small your company is, like you got to understand that marketing is really not selling. Marketing is invoking emotion in people. This is what newspapers do. It's what everything is. You can't put the genie in the bottle when you understand this stuff. You'll be red-pilled. Everything is in an effort to get you to think a thought or feel a feel. Think a thought or feel a feel. Every message, every image, everything that's happening is in an effort to get you to think a thought or feel a feel. Whether it's a public antics video of someone doing something crazy on YouTube and the thumbnail associated with that video, or if it's a headline on a Twitter ad, or it's the headline of a piece of direct mail that you get, or the stuff that you do for your business, right? So I think you don't have to be some world-dominating marketer to crush it, but even thinking a little bit about the nuance will be super helpful for you. I have a bunch of really fun pictures. Jarrett, if you guys or Maverick could get those ready. They're simple things, but I want you to understand, none of these images are selling something per se. The closest it gets to selling is selling an idea, but it's not really selling a product. There's no direct response associated with it. So you can put that first picture up here. It's pretty interesting. Go ahead, Mav. Okay, so this is a guy who was in a car accident and he survived. And there's this advocacy group that wanted to get the word out to tell people, hey, wear your seatbelt. But if you go online and you say wear a seatbelt, nobody will care. But if you get a bunch of people that survive car accidents to take pictures like that and then you put it all over, it's like the reach is so much bigger because we've invoked emotion through that image. Go to the next one. We can kind of rapid fire them if you want. So this is an escalator with Homer Simpson painted on it with donuts going down and going into his mouth. Now the emotion associated is just humor. That's it. It's humor, and it's getting mind share, I think, to a Simpsons movie that was coming out. Go to the next one. This is a Kit Kat bench, park bench or city bench. Super low cost. What's interesting about this is that Kit Kat, the real play here wasn't for Kit Kat to do a bench and sell Kit Kat. The play here was to do a bench, take pictures of the bench, and put it all over the internet that they did that on a bench. Right?
Probably millions.
They're marketing their marketing. So the marketing is the bench, but they market their marketing. Then this is a Marvel bag. And it's so simple. It doesn't cost any more for the bag, but they print the Wolverine claws on it, but it invokes emotion. Think of the little kid that has that bag. It's so powerful. Okay, keep going. This one, what is this one? Oh, a Superman elevator, right? Yeah, it's so cool. Promoting a movie. Super interesting. So this one.
And it becomes part of marketing because people take pictures with it.
Go to the next one, ma'am. can't remember why I sent you that one. So the McDonald's fries,
What's
it's a
wrong?
feeling, happy childhood memories. It's clever, it's cute. This is a Sprite soda machine at a beach, but it's really to wash off the salt water from yourself, but you're associated with fun. This is a razor company that it's so simple. Giant razor, mowed a strip of grass. It's funny. This is a status elite one. So public transportation, you grab the little wrist holder when you're traveling, but it makes it look like there's a watch on your wrist, which creates a feeling in you. Maybe you don't notice it, right? But for the people that do notice it, they feel like they're wearing a Rolex or whatever that watch was. Very, very clever. But they're not saying buy a watch. This is Ronald McDonald secretly buying a burger from Burger King. Great marketing. Like he's ashamed to admit it. This is a flea and tick control advertisement in a mall. It's this huge picture of a dog, and the people walking on top of the dog look like ticks on the dog. That creates anxiety in pet owners, and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this stuff and give my dog a flea bath. And then here's a Nike bench. And this Nike bench, it just has a Nike swoosh, and it says run, but there's no bench.
There's no seat.
So if you're like a morbidly obese person, you do not like Nike. But let me venture out on something here. You're probably not a Nike customer anyway, right? And then,
Ooh,
but the
split the room.
person who is into fitness and their identity's in it, massive emotion invoked. It's emotional fishing. Is there another one, Mav? What's after that one? This is just cool. Yeah, go to the next one. This one's a little inappropriate, but pretty freaking hilarious. It's for a condom company. The one in the middle is the XL. And so the feet, but look, the bottom line is it's good marketing. It invokes emotion. That's what it does.
You just hijacked my eyes.
It's just funny. This is Spider-Man who got killed by Raid because he's a Spider Man. Super clever. And they didn't actually say it was the Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog.
Oh my goodness.
Car?
Anytime I see the Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog mobile, I always take a picture with it. If you have your car shaped as a food product, Ashlee Latimer is helping you market, everybody. So if you have a cool marketing car, I'm getting my picture taken with and sharing with all my friends.
So I guess
Just saying.
what's the moral of the story? Is the moral of the story that you have to go do all this weird stuff? No, but it's to set yourself free and think outside the box. Not everything you do with marketing is actually saying, give me money, give me money, give me money. You can do a thing that makes people chuckle. You can do a thing that makes people feel dirty, or do a thing that makes them feel empowered. You get them to feel something, and then you can bridge the rest of that kind of later, right? So not everything you do has to be direct response, give me money, give me money. You want to have fun and be a human. Small business owners are so transactional with stuff. Everything is like, you don't even hear from companies until they want to get money from you. That's it. It's like, give me money, give me money, give me money. The radio silence for 6 months. Give me money, give me money. Bad. Don't do that. Be a person. I think marketing is also hard when you're in a state of overwhelm or fear or panic, because it's hard to be creative when you're feeling like that. Another good Myronism is that the real goal isn't to do anything. The real goal is to get yourself to feel like doing things. The goal is to get yourself to feel like doing the things. The goal isn't to do the thing, it's to feel like doing the things. Because if you feel like doing the thing, you'll automatically do it, whether it's working out or selling harder or building a system or building an operational thing or whatever things that you're procrastinating on, you will do them when you feel like it. So don't just force yourself to do them and burn through your willpower. Create an environment to get yourself to feel like it. This can be done through different routines that you do, but a big one is the people you choose to spend time with. And you're a crazy maniac if you're spending time with Josh and Ashlee on the Josh and Ashlee Show. We certainly appreciate it. But that's my business tip of the day. Be an emotional fisherman, not just transactional, and find a way to feel like being creative.
Wow. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm realizing that I love those kind of marketing things. Like, I'm the person taking the picture in front of the elevator or the escalator with the Bart Simpson donut face thing. Like, I'm doing it and I'm here for it. And I think if you start looking at your business as how do I have fun and give back, I think it's a win-win. It's a stinking win. That's what I have to say with that. I would say with the holidays, I will tell you this, entrepreneurs and entrepreneur wives, it's a hard time actually for entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And so very hard for entrepreneurs, but hang on and know that this is the time to love on normies. You know, that's a great time to love on normies.
Well, why don't you read that post that the guy put in the Warplant
that I saved?
Group?
I saved pictures and things, and my husband goes, "Why did you save this?" And I saved it because In the Unicorn Squad, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about holiday pregame and different things like that, and how to prepare for people that don't live entrepreneurial lives. But this is what it says. I hope this post doesn't come across wrong. Does anyone else struggle with Thanksgiving or holidays with family, especially extended family? I have the hardest time having the same meaningless conversations every holiday. I'm guessing it's because I have massive goals and a drive to get there that my extended family doesn't. I am a huge introvert and that would rather spend the whole day locked in my office watching war plan marketing videos than have the same conversation I had last year. And some of you are watching this going, ooh, that might have been harsh to your normies and like that you don't love your family, but that's not necessarily true, is it?
It's not true at all.
It's not true at all.
Misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding and how to love your entrepreneur. My husband's an introvert and sometimes he's all done. And so we drive separately so that when he's all done peopling, he can go home and like restore and reset his batteries. And for a long time that used to make me really upset because I thought, oh, he's like sad or something. Nope. He just needs that. He needs that extra time. And that's okay. It's actually, us driving separate is actually a gift to me because I'm an extrovert, right? I'm an extrovert. And so it's a gift to me that he's like, hey, you can stay and have fun and do the party stuff and stay a little bit longer, but I'm going to have to go home and like rest and restore my batteries. And that's okay.
And as an entrepreneur, like Alex Sharfin, I had him on my other podcast years ago. Super smart guy. What's up, Alex Sharfin, if you see this? He has a little book called The Entrepreneur Personality Type, EPT, and he like coined this phrase. Super interesting. But he kind of makes the argument, I might butcher this a little bit, but entrepreneur personality types, they don't feel like depressed. Not like a normal person would define the idea of depression. An entrepreneur feels momentum or constraint. And I love that about Alex's book. And you should all go give him your money and get that little book. Because for me, when I realized that, I'm like, that's true, right? So the reason small talk makes you want to die inside if you're an EPT is because there's no momentum in it. It seems circular and pointless. It seems like it produces nothing. Now, the problem with that is that to someone that's not an EPT, it's very fruitful. Right? The pointless talking about the weather conversation has an ROI to that person, right? Just the emotional connection is the ROI. But for an EPT, we want momentum. You're like a fighter jet and you don't want to be forced to fly alongside of a crop duster, which is a small airplane, right? Fighter jets, if they go slow, they fall out of the sky and they crash and burn and you die. They're designed to go fast. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. They're supposed to go fast. Now, crop dusters are designed to go slow. They can't go fast. It'd probably rip itself apart if it went too fast. They're designed to fly low and slow. Both are valuable in different ways. They both have utility, but they're just different. So the holidays is when these things kind of mix together. So there needs to be give and take. You know, hopefully normie families can understand that the people that are changing the world are doing these big, crazy things. They take risks, they make mistakes, they do failures, but they need momentum. They need to be surrounded by encouragers and edifiers that can push them forward and help them think bigger. But the entrepreneur needs to know that not everybody's like that. Only a tiny percentage of the population is like that. And so if you do downshift and choose to talk about the weather, it's just an act of love to do that.
I'm getting all teary-eyed over here because I think for the first time ever, I realized, and I think I've identified why it's so hard to be an entrepreneur wife in these moments. I haven't fleshed this out, everybody. I just got really emotional. I'm just going to try to walk you through it. Is that an entrepreneur wife is not a normie and is not necessarily an entrepreneur EPT. Okay, and so what happens is sometimes in the holidays, we play on both fields. And so sometimes it's really hard because you're either defending normies or you're defending the entrepreneur. And so either you're trying to get your entrepreneur to talk about the weather or, you know, you're trying to get the normies to talk about business stuff. And it's really hard because you play in both playgrounds and it's sometimes hard to like stay focused on what you're doing. One of the things we talked about in the Unicorn Squad is a lot of people love to give advice because the normies are trying to have conversations. And so they think that if they want to talk about business, that they have to give you their advice or opinion about what you should do for business. And sometimes it's not helpful for the direction you're going in. And so a lot of the entrepreneur wives were talking about how like they just say, oh, that's a great idea. And they just shake their head and they just They just continue on and they have to process it because they're not really there to have a business conversation, but it's, they're talking points. And so I think that's why it's really hard sometimes to be an entrepreneur wife.
I think that's a really good insight.
Because it's lonely, because that's why when entrepreneur wives get together, it's like just being together is enough. We don't have to
You
explain.
live a very unique lifestyle being an entrepreneur.
I don't have to explain my entrepreneur part, and I don't have to explain the normie part. It's like when we get together, we can just be us.
It's a good ending for the show. Do you want to say goodbye and pray us out? And hey, just shout out to Brian Petz. He said, I'm a maniac. What's up, Brian? Steve Ram doing fire emojis. Brad Schneider. What's up, my friend? But with that being said, why don't you send us home with some prayer?
Okay, I'm going to send us home with some prayer, but I also want to just add this, is that, we talked about this right here being a legacy piece and being old-fashioned, and old-fashioned is like the new cool rebellious thing is to have a marriage and children and stuff. And I would also say that being old-fashioned is entrepreneurship too, and building this life and the entrepreneur family is building a legacy. And so if you are an entrepreneur family right now and you are in the hard stuff and you're doing hard things, know that you are building a legacy. And that entrepreneurship is something that even if your business goes away, when it's instilled in your children, it will never go away, because the ideas that you have put inside of them and they've grown up around are powerful. So just to encourage you that what you're doing is right, and hang on, you've got this. Stay strong, little ninja. But let me pray for us. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for dying on the cross for us, Lord. We love you and we worship you and we honor you, God. God, I just pray that you are with families this season, Lord, that you fill them up, Lord Jesus, Lord, that you press upon them their mission, their mandate, and their purpose, God, that they would step into what God has for them, Lord, that they would be filled up by you and the Holy Spirit, Lord, and that you would give them the fruits of the Spirit, Lord, that would be the calling card of Jesus, Lord, that would be calling card of you, that they would just walk in your presence, Lord. And Lord, I just pray that for all the hurting, Lord, the broken, Lord, that you would fill them up, Lord, that you would restore. Lord, that you would restore families, that you would restore businesses, Lord, that you would be in every detail of their lives, Lord. We love you and we worship you, and we pray in this season that people would find hope in you and joy in you. Lord, be with the orphans and the widows and the veterans and the homeless. Lord, rescue people from trafficking and sex trafficking, Lord. Jesus, we just love you, and we know the world's hurting. But this isn't our home, so we just pray that we can shine you bright in this season, and that we remember that it is not about gifts and even the time we have together, but it's about you. And we love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We'll see you next week. Bye.